Welcome to One Word Stories, today episode 6, and I'm really glad to host Mohit Kanade. Mohit, welcome. Mohit, I've been thinking how to introduce you because you are also active in so many fields. And when I think of Mohit, I immediately think of three roles, three areas of expertise and also of interest. The very first one is that you are an MBA holder and you are very into economics. The second one is that you specialize in the intercultural communication. And last but not least, you are also a mindfulness trainer. So this is also a combination that is sometimes unusual and sometimes triggering curiosity. Why such a combination?
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much, Joanna, for having me. It is indeed my pleasure and honor to be with you for this conversation, and I really appreciate. Um, yeah, it is definitely a very interesting question. As you can imagine, that I'm a very hardcore engineer. Um, in India, we say that you can be either engineer, doctor, or a failure. Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
decided to become an engineer. And eventually, I came to Germany and I finished my master's. I also worked almost 10 years in the corporate world. And at some point of time, I decided to pursue the knowledge or my career also in the business management background. And later on, I would say in the last 2 years, I was very much captivated by the neuroscience and the mindfulness and the significance of the emotional intelligence in the corporate world. Uh, so in this context, I came across one mindfulness training, and I could really connect the dots from my technical background, from my business management background, and also the mindfulness training. And eventually, there was also time when I came from India to Germany first time, and I was not so good with the communication or communicating with the people, and I was facing a lot of issues. And surprisingly enough, I got an opportunity to participate in one of the intercultural communication workshop, and I got captivated by this subject. I was amazed, and I thought if that knowledge can help me to understand the other side of the coin, why should not I share this knowledge with the people or with the students who are also working or studying in this international setting? And as a matter of this fact, I started to conduct the workshops as well as seminars in intercultural communication. And eventually, that also led me to become a lecturer for the intercultural communication at the University of Aachen.
Thank you very much for sharing. Actually, I had the pleasure to join one of your classes at the University of Aachen. Thank you for the invitation. You said, oh, it would be really cool to have a special guest, so to say, who also wrote a chapter that was read by the students during your class. So I felt really honored and it was really fantastic to know that, people in the field are interested in storytelling across cultures. How do you actually relate to storytelling? How do you yourself apply storytelling in this context?
Yeah. I personally believe that every person is a story. Okay. If you could imagine this cultural iceberg, yeah, we just see only 10% of the cultures or only the 10% of the reality of the person. Yeah. But eventually there are a lot of things which are not visible. These are underneath. And I believe that more you dig deep, more you understand the people, more you understand the culture. And you can understand the people only by listening to them, only by sharing your experiences with them, only by resonating something which they might have also experienced in their lives. Yeah. And this is possible only and only through storytelling. Storytelling is one of the important techniques to understand not only the people but also the culture. And as a reason of this fact, I believed that, and I was exploring something related to something which can be connected with storytelling and culture. And eventually I came across your chapter
Mhm.
in, in that book. And as a matter of this fact, uh, I'm really grateful to you because I found at least one person who who could possibly believe what I have believed as well. Or there was someone who already believed that
Hmm.
intercultural communication are kind of connected. And this is what I also felt, I believed through my experiences. And I found your chapter. And yeah, my students enjoyed this chapter. And I was very happy that you joined my session.
Me too. I was very happy. It was fantastic to listen also to your students, with their insights and also their learning, so to say, what learnings they took from your course. It was really fascinating. So, congratulations. And by the way, me too, I also teach at a couple of universities, and I know, just like you, very, very well that this year was extremely tough for many young people. I mean, for everyone, obviously. 2020 was really transformational, but especially for the young people, especially for the exchange students who simply got stuck at one point and felt very lonely. So, different people found support in different activities, in different groups. And of course, we can create some spaces where the students also can experience psychological safety and can open and also get to know each other better way, learn from each other, see also the value added, not only to learn at the cognitive level. And still, I'm thinking of us, because pretty often we focus very much on our students. And what about us? What about you personally? What was the word that helped you 2020, and what was actually the story behind? How did you support yourself in this tough time?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really important question. Personally, I think that I became more mature through development of emotional resilience. So my word is emotional resilience, and I can tell you why. As I just mentioned, when I came from India to Germany, I was also the new student in this different culture or the new culture of Europe. And I was new in every kind of setting. The culture was new to me, the weather was new to me, the people were new to me, the food were new to me.
Mhm.
And I found it very hard to cope up with the situation. And eventually it was so hard, it also affected my health. And as a matter of that fact, I got hospitalized because of my lung infection for 64 days in the
Mm.
hospital. It was the first time ever in my life I got admitted in the hospital.
Hmm.
I thought this is not what I deserve. Yeah. I was rejecting the fact that I was hospitalized. But eventually, what I remember from my late father, who taught me that there are always a lot of things which we do not expect in our lives, but we need to learn to accept them. Yeah. And that is the first step of building the emotional resilience.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think that experience gave me a lot of strength and I became more humble, more grounded, more down to earth. I really hit the rock bottom, and through a lot of good people around me, I think I learned a lot, and that's the reason I think it made it incredible journey.
Mhm. Yeah. So when I listen to your story, the first step actually on building resilience is acknowledging the situation, and then also this adaptation. So trying to accept what's going on, and also trying to adapt to very, very different context. What are the other steps that you can imagine that play a very important role in building this emotional resilience?
First thing came into my mind is the hope.
Mhm.
It is absolutely important to have the hope because once you have the hope, once you accept the situation, once you accept the reality, you can start marching towards what kind of picture you want to paint, what kind of future you want to have. Yeah. So as far as my understanding is concerned, accepting the fact, having the hope, having the self faith,
Mhm.
the patience, and having the gratitude as well for everything. Because you know what? Sometimes it always happens that there are only two choices in our lives: accept the things as they are, or accept the responsibility to change them.
Mhm.
And very often we are, we reject the,
Yep.
as long as we try to run away from the reality, we cannot proceed. Yeah.
Mhm.
I personally believe that we don't need to go through the situation. We need to grow through the situation.
Yep. Yeah.
So it is not about running from the situation. It is facing the situation and conquering that.
Mhm.
Become the best version of ourselves. I want to put it into the nutshell. I would say the factors which I appreciate and which I think are important are hope, patience, acceptance, self trust or self faith, and also the gratitude.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Very important components of building resilience. And actually, when I listen to you, I can relate to it a lot because actually, also my experiences from, moving from Poland to Germany, then shortly to France, and then again here to the northern part of Germany. It also was this story, so to say, of huge change and also of persistence that helped me a lot during 2020. So, that we simply look at these stories from the past, how they made us to these people who we are currently, and how can we build upon these stories and see them as sources of inspiration, so to say, how to thrive in difficult moments. And this guides me to the question, what was such a moment for you last year when the word resilience actually helped you a lot?
I think that I tried to take all the knowledge, all the learning which I had learned in the past to collectively use in the last year. Yeah. So just to give an example, as you just mentioned, I pursued an MBA. So I had a very great plan to pursue an MBA and then immediately start, my professional career. I realized that there was some other plan. Yeah, so we all experience some incredible situation which happens once in 100 years. Yeah. And when I look back and when I try to connect all the dots which I have experienced, so when I go back, okay, there was a time in the year 2008 2009 when I finished my masters. I started to work, but eventually, because of the economic crisis, I lost my job.
Mhm.
Yeah. There was some issues on my personal front, uh, because of which I had a lot of relationship crisis. Yeah. There were issues because of which I faced the financial crisis. Yeah. There were issues, just I mentioned, during my master course, because of which I faced the health crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, I write diary, I write journal every day, and I reflect on those experiences, on those situations. Yeah. And in the last year, when I had this incredible plan, which did not work, then I thought, okay, now what?
Mm-hmm.
And I went back and I saw, oh, I had more terrible situations in the past as well.
Yeah.
Survived through those situations.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to be the survival of the fittest
Mm-hmm.
of those situations. So if I could do that time, why not now? Because this is the time where I needed my learning the most. Yeah, I always believe that we either win or we learn.
Yeah. Definitely, yes, there is no other option. Margit, what was the biggest surprise for you when actually you moved to Germany from India? Because you've said that it was on one hand side, of course, climate, of course, the surrounding, food, and so on and so forth. What about behavior?
Oh, okay. I'm still sometimes, I'm not very direct, I would say. Um, so actually, that was the first thing which I have realized that, coming from Asia, living in Europe, you you immediately realize that people are very direct to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if there is something which I have to convey to my family member or even colleague and so on, I would take a very sophisticated way or option to convey my message without hurting the person.
Mm,
But on the other hand, though the intention here in Europe is not to hurt the person, rather having that constructive criticism, but it is perceived
yeah,
as a very directness. Of course, I mean, every culture or every nation has its own style, which
yeah.
is absolutely correct in
Mm,
that particular setting. But it is perceived as a very, hurtful way from different culture or from different nationality. And then I started to understand the other side of the coin.
mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Because it guides me also to this, observation we both share, that the very first step is actually to understand what's going on with us at the cognitive level. Nevertheless, it's not enough because still we are emotionally triggered a lot. Yeah. So this is the moment where actually mindfulness can help a lot.
Absolutely.
What is your favorite story that you say, oh, this was really the moment when mindfulness actually helped me personally a lot? And this is something I can also share with everybody as a very, yes, valuable experience.
Definitely. It can be a little bit funny for you, Joanna, when a person from technical background talking about the neuroscience. Okay.
Why? Why? There are many people who have different passions, and I'm always curious to hear the why. So tell me more.
So one of the examples I would definitely share, or one of the observations I would definitely share, that as you just mentioned, we all get emotionally triggered, yeah, by some or other reasons. We are human beings. We always have some, strong points and the strength and the weaknesses and so on. And sometimes we definitely feel vulnerable in particular situations. We get emotionally triggered, yeah. And very often we get angry as well, yeah, which is quite normal. Thanks to the neuroscience, when I got to know about amygdala hijack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So till that moment, I absolutely did not know why I'm getting angry. Yeah, of
Mm-hmm.
course, you need to reflect a lot, which are particular situations or the people around you because of whom you get emotionally triggered. But at that particular moment, in that particular time, you do not understand what is happening. But as I mentioned, that I understood or I came across amygdala hijack and I understood, oh, wow, this is what happening in my brain. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time I need to be extremely careful when this kind of situation happens. Yeah. And I would say that because of that knowledge, that information, I could improve the communication process whenever I come with such kind of setting or with such kind of situation where I emotionally get triggered. So, and this is again connected with the brain, connected with
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness. It's not about controlling the emotions, it is about redirecting the emotions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is actually something that I can relate to it a lot because when we think of the brain as a structure in this evolutionary way, amygdala you are just talking about is part of the limbic brain. And the limbic brain, evolutionary, is older than the cortex and also precortex. Yeah, so actually, what makes also sense, all the impulses, for example, anger, so emotion that is, so to say, produced in amygdala, uh, goes via neuroreceptors as a piece of information to the precortex, and it happens really, really quickly. Nevertheless, it takes lots of time that the precortex, the so to say rational part of our brain, can send an impulse. Hey, wait a second, don't scream, don't beat, don't fight, just behave in a way that is appropriate in this setting. So, with this in mind, that we immediately think of this longer way of transmission, what could be helpful? What does help you to bridge this time?
Yeah, yeah. Again, I do not, say that I'm an expert, but whatever I have learned through experiences or from the knowledge which I got from the book, um, I would definitely tell you which also, I mean, which created an incredible impact on my personality. I saw the movie called Inside Out,
Mhm.
animated movie, and because of this movie, I could see what are the different emotions which are, you know, showing what kind of person I am, or what kind of emotions are triggering, or what kind of emotions are controlling my behavior in that particular moment.
Mhm.
So, amygdala hijack, Inside Out movie helped me to to have the control. I would not say control, rather to divert my attention for
Yeah.
the greater good. Yeah,
Mhm.
I always give the example of the sports one or sports person, because we always have that kind of emotion trigger. If we are getting angry, we don't want to fight with the person. Yeah, we want to redirect those emotions to work hard and to become a better sports person. Yeah, you
Mm.
never want to have the red card on the field. Yeah, you don't want to commit a mistake. Yeah, so this is how I learn
Yeah.
in uh, life to have that kind of control.
Yeah. 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 Thank you for sharing. It's really fascinating, how much we can actually apply from the mindfulness in this intercultural context. So, what is pretty often criticized currently in our field is that we still remain at this cognitive level, that we address similarities and also cultural differences. Nevertheless, we are not so much hands on regarding. Uh, telling the people, inspiring them how they can actually manage emotions, how they can manage this gap between emotions that are triggered and the reaction to a concrete, certain situation. Yeah, there is this, so to say, gap. What actually helps is knowing that our brain is marked by a high elasticity. So it's a very flexible part of our body. And when I listen to you regarding your example with sports, we can actually train it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah. What is your favorite activity from this mindfulness training that trains our brains?
Okay, so I think I do a lot of mindfulness activities, but one of the most favorite activity is writing.
Mhm,
Yeah. So I do feel that when I write, I go into the moment of the flow. Yeah. I find myself in writing.
mhm,
Nevertheless, doing everyday meditation is also one of the most important activities. People do say, or this mindfulness trainer do say sometimes, you don't have to have that kind of thought or thinking and so on. But I personally believed and also experienced that I could find a lot of answers to my questions just by being calm and quiet and thinking about the issues without any judgment.
mhm,
I could find out a lot of answers to my questions. And as far as writing is concerned, I have been journaling for the last 20 years.
mm,
I have been from 1st of January 2001. And I used to write TOD, thought of the day, and SOD, satisfaction of the day, every
mhm.
day. It is a part of the learning for the everyday process, and also the gratitude or the satisfaction what you have in your life. So these simple activities help me. I think writing is one of the most important activities which we are losing nowadays because we all have computer and we all have but writing with hand on the paper is really you know mindful, I would say.
Yeah, yes. When I again listen to you, it immediately emerges this picture of the process of writing. It's also about being here and now.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So this is really the core of mindfulness, that we find the way back to our body, so to say, and also the act of writing. One more question that emerges actually is when we think of cultural characteristics, of course, there are people who are more used to this world of obviousness that, time is money.
mm,
Time plays a very important role and everything has to be fast, fast, fast. So just the opposite to the mindfulness. And of course, those who are culturally based are already in this mood that they see the added value, so to say. How do you actually manage to convince those from the first group that mindfulness can be extremely helpful in the intercultural interactions?
absolutely. This is absolutely incredible question, Joanna, because I think that before even going to the intercultural communication, I personally feel that it's all about communication between two people or two groups or between two people. And I personally feel that we really need to practice active listening. Yeah. And one of the important formulas which I would like to share with you, you might be knowing AI stands for artificial intelligence.
Mhm,
My dictionary, I say AI means appreciate and inspire.
mhm,
Appreciate the people around you, what they are, and inspire the people, what they can become. And
mm,
applicable for yourself as well. Yeah. Because you see, we either live in the past or in the future, or think about the future, but we are, most of the times we are always in the rush, as you mentioned, and we are losing the moment in which we are living.
Yeah,
Matter of this fact, appreciating that particular moment and having that inspiration to make the best out of this moment
I
is,
love it.
is the formula for me.
I love it. And by the way, AI stands also for appreciative inquiry. And
Yeah.
I'm really glad because my next guest, Laure Cohen van Delft, is actually the practitioner of appreciative inquiry, and she's joining One Word Stories in 1 week. So, it's such a beautiful path that you are, offering right now to have this smooth transition also to introduce the next guest. Mohit, thank you very, very much. I loved your insights. I really feel very, very inspired by the ideas of writing on the regular basis. This is what I keep promising myself, and I really try to do it every day. Nevertheless, just if it's just the minimum, so to say, just like you are saying, this moment of gratefulness, so to say, gratitude, better say. Yes, so what I'm satisfied with at the end of the day, and what was the most important thought, I guess when we start with this, this is already a wonderful beginning, and the journaling can begin. Mohit, thank you very, very much. I wish you lots of moments when you are here and now. And I know that you are heading also to India pretty soon. So, what are your wishes for the time in India when you visit home?
Yeah, I think when I visit to India, the time has been already allotted to my family. So I always say when I go to India, my time is not my time. Okay, because it is already captured by the people around me, the family members and the friends and acquaintances and so on. So it is always a crazy as well as very incredible time for me whenever I go to India. And I think I take and I get a lot of inspiration and a lot of energy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wish you lots of wonderful moments when you go to Maharashtra.
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah, I've been to India. However, of course, India is such a huge country that I'm dreaming of the moment when I can visit again.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Mohit, take care and see you soon.
Thank you so much. My honor, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.